Hello friends, it's Greg here again on the Blue Feather Ephemera channel, and on this channel every week I make a video to show you what sold from my eBay store where I sell vintage magazine print advertising. This past week I sold 12 items for $156.24. We'll take a close look at that in a minute. Then we'll also cover our weekly bonus topic, and this week it's called a summer sales perspective, where I'm going to show you some traffic and sales numbers from my store. So stick around for that. And I'm going to pause right here up front for just a minute and remind you that if you like watching the channel, go ahead and subscribe and turn on notifications. That way, whenever I add a new video, you can watch it whenever you want to, and you don't have to wait around for a notification from YouTube to be dropped into your recommendations. So once you do that, if you've got another spare moment, check out the survey under the community tab where I ask questions about why it is you watch. That helps me tailor content that I know you're going to enjoy. Now, let's take a look at those ads. First up, we've got this really fun ad for a fishing lure called the Flutter Fin. It's the amazing new surface lure for bass. When you look at the detail here, it says that it's made by the Worth Company of Stevens Point, Wisconsin. It appeared in the Progressive Farmer magazine, 1962. And up at the top, it says, when it's sleepy time down south, you can wake them up with a flutter fin. And you can see here that this lure has all kinds of wiggly things attached to it. And it costs just $1.25. So this ad sold for $6.77 because it's a very small ad. It's a little bit over 3 inches by almost 2 3/4 inches. And it's going to a buyer in Pennsylvania for $6.77. Here's another ad that I sold for $6.77. And it's a small ad that ran in the House Beautiful magazine, 1962. The advertiser is the Old Mexico Shop of Santa Fe, New Mexico. And the product here, when you look at the detail, it is a tea towel, and it says it is a cookbook on a tea towel, and it has several recipes there for different Mexican dishes. And I had a lot of interest in this. I had several few viewers, several watchers, and also a couple of messages exchanged. I thought the interest might stem from the fact that I don't see a lot of products out of Santa Fe, New Mexico. And so the folks there might have an outsized interest in getting a hold of some things that say Santa Fe on them. But this ended up going to a shopper in Ohio. Here's the first full page ad of the week for a company named Barton's, and Barton's made this Dye and Shine liquid shoe polish. That's what the big bottle is in the ad, but when you look at the detail, they also sold a shoe polish paste in tins. And the highlight of the ad is this cartoon here by a illustrator named Reamer Keller. He was really popular back during the mid 20th century. And it's funny because in the detail here, these fellas are on this amphibious assault ship, and they're getting ready to storm a beach, and they've got air support. These planes are strafing the beach. There's shells splashing in the water around them. They've got artillery support from, looks like a battle cruiser up here, but they're fixated on this letter from their pal named Butch. And it says, Butch wishes he was fixed like us, getting all the Dye and Shine liquid shoe polish we want. So it says the entire production of Dye and Shine liquid shoe polish is now being shipped to our armed forces. So just like so many other products back during World War II, the civilian population had to make do with inferior stuff so that the armed forces could get the best quality of stuff in all the quantities they could wish. So anyway, again, Quartermaster Review magazine, I sold it for $18.77. It went to a buyer in North Carolina. Next up is this very basic furniture ad from a company called Morgan Furniture, Asheville, North Carolina. And I say very basic because it's a furniture ad, and I know that there's a good market for furniture ads out there because I sell a lot of them, and I know that the terminology a lot is all relative. Some people may not think it's a lot, but in proportion with the other ads that I sell, I'm surprised at the number of furniture ads. This ran in House Beautiful magazine. So this is the second ad this week so far from House Beautiful, 1946. And in this ad, all that you're looking at here is a colonial style bedroom suite, and it shows you, the different pieces, the mirror and the dresser and the bed and nightstands, and that's all it is. So I guess maybe there's students of furniture design or interior decorators or some other folks are after these. I'm just thankful to have a market for them. $16.77 was the price on this, and it's on its way to Illinois. Now, here's a fun ad from 1953. This ran in the Quartermaster Review, and the advertiser is Burry's Cookies, and they're based in Elizabeth, New Jersey. They have several kinds of cookies here in the ad. This is a half page ad, by the way, that I sold for $12.77. But I want to point out here that in the detail, you've got these cookies called Porky Pig cartoon cookies. Then you've got chocolate chip, coconut, pecan plantation cookies, and butter flavor cookies. But really, the only character marketing that you see going on here is Porky Pig. Now, this is 1953. And by the 1950s, Warner Brothers and their studios, Merry Melodies, Looney Tunes, they had tons of great characters. But I went to read up on this and try to figure out why just Porky. Well, it turns out Porky Pig came out in the 1930s, and he was the studio's first superstar cartoon character. And so there's a lot of love and affection for Porky Pig back at the time that was older and more deep rooted than what the other characters had going on. So you see some Porky Pig endorsements on things where they didn't bother with the other great characters like Elmer Fudd and Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck and all of those who ended up showing up later. But based on what I read, Porky Pig is the oldest continuing character for Warner Brothers. So anyway, fun and interesting ad. I sold it for $12.77. It's on its way to a repeat buyer in Arizona. The Liberator Bomber. It is a mighty warrior. It ranges the seven fronts, searching out targets to smite with devastating effect. Europe knows it, and Asia, the conquered Low Countries, the Pacific, the East, near and far, and the battered cities of Germany. And so on and so forth goes the text of this advertisement for the Buick division of General Motors. They ran this ad to educate the American people about their contribution to the war effort. And in the photo here, it says this aircraft is an Achilles in search of a heel, which basically means that this is an aircraft that doesn't really have any discernible weakness. It ran in Look magazine 1943. I sold it for $18.77. It's going to Florida. Here's a funny ad right here. It's called the Safemate, and it's billed as a discreet condom carrier with a compact design. And you can see in the detail of the photo here that basically what you do is you put your product in this and close it up and pack it around. It says discreet. But I'm just thinking when you read the detail here, it says that this is available in a key ring, a belt clip, a money clip, or a pendant model. And you can get it in different colors and all of that. Now, I'm just thinking if people know what this thing is and you put it on a chain and wear it around your neck, exactly what is it that you're telegraphing there? Anyway, just kind of an interesting perspective. But this is a product from, let's see what this says, Safemate Products, Brookfield, Wisconsin. This ran in Penthouse Magazine, 1988. I sold it for $12.77. It's a partial page, little over 5 inches by a little over 5 inches, and it's on its way to Illinois. This is a cute ad here that ran in True Magazine 1959. The advertiser is Cubana Airlines, and it's a company based in Miami, Florida. They ran several flights daily aboard a Lockheed Super G Constellation aircraft, several flights a day from Miami to Havana. And in the detail here, I think this is fun. It says with optional stopover at Veradero Beach. And I'm just thinking that's worded funny because it would seem like they've got these flights going from Miami to Havana, and then they get up there, and after about 20 minutes, they say, "Hey, who wants to go to Veradero by show of hands?" And then, maybe that's how it went for the option to stop over at Veradero Beach. I'm sure that's not it, but it's funny. Um, anyway, it says that this company also had daily flights from New York that featured complimentary gourmet meals, even in the tourist class. But it says, go to Havana, the land of fishing, fun, and frolic. And it shows a mermaid pulling this water skier. Now, this ad, I found several, maybe a dozen for Cubana Airlines. Not this exact ad, though. I priced it up just a little bit since this one was unique and it sold within a day for $14.77. It's going to a buyer in California. All right, here's a small advertisement for a product called Pino Lilac Vegetal Aftershave Lotion. It says the ladies like it, and this fellow, he's got a secret that he's sharing with you. Um, it says it soothes, cools, refreshes, and heals those tiny razor nicks. This is a company out of Paris, and it was established by Ed Pino, and that's basically all there is to it. It's a small ad. It's about the same size as the last one, a little bit over 5 inches by a little over 5 inches. This ran in Argosy magazine, 1955. I sold it for $8.77. It's on its way to Washington. Here's the third advertisement this week from House Beautiful magazine. This one goes all the way back to 1941. The company is Brush Punnet, and they made wall safes. The company based in Rochester, New York. In the detail here, it says put a Sentry on guard, and when you read into the detail there, it says it's a practical Christmas gift. It protects your valuables from fire and theft. It resists fire. It's insulated, welded steel. It foils tampering. It's perfect for dormitory dwellers, and it's a small ad. It's roughly 2 inches, 2.25 inches by 3 3/4 inches. It looks like I sold it for $8.77. It's going back to its home city of Rochester, New York. I mentioned last week about how I got my start on eBay, mainly with mid century glass and ceramics. And I think the topic of conversation last week was Fostoria glass. But here we're looking at an advertisement for Hull Pottery. And just like the Fostoria glass, I've handled a lot of Hull Pottery as well. But what's advertised here is their butterfly design, and that's probably my favorite hull of all of it. I just really like that butterfly design. It's really beautiful. This is the fourth ad this week that ran in House Beautiful magazine. The year here is 1956. This is a small ad. I sold it for $8.77. I'm going to zoom in here, and actually there's a little bit of blur on the picture. Let me try the other image and see, even though it's smaller, it comes up almost as clear. But anyway, Hall Pottery of Crooksville, Ohio. Just a nice mid-century design here that you're looking at. And I sold this to a buyer in Indiana. Now, we've already seen one ad about how Buick was making Pratt and Whitney engines for the B-24 Liberator. Now, this last ad of the week, we see how the AC Spark Plug Company is making bomb sights for the B-24 Liberator. Now, the kind of bomb sight that they're making is the kind that was used by the Royal Air Force. And in this picture, I'm going to zoom in on some detail here and show you on the wing of this bomber, it's got the Royal Air Force markings on it. And here you see a bunch of sleds that they use to load bombs onto the aircraft. In this box right here is a RAF bomb sight, and they were the most accurate bomb sights used of any type during the war. So it was a very meticulously made piece of equipment. It says the tolerance for the measurements was 1/12 of a hair's breadth. So that's how accurate they needed to be with the manufacture of these components. And the AC Spark Plug Company of General Motors Corporation is just bragging about how they are equipped to do that kind of precision work. Anyway, this ran in Look magazine in 1943. I sold it for $21.77. This was a global shipping program sale. It's on its way to the United Kingdom. All right, now we're going to launch into the bonus topic that I call Summer eBay Sales Perspective. And the reason why I use the term perspective is because I am disgustingly optimistic. That's just the kind of person that I am. Um, the reason why I think it needs a little bit of perspective is because when you open eBay and then you go to your performance, your sales, your traffic, and everything else, what you're looking at is the most recent 30-day window. And when I looked at mine, I was tempted to get depressed, but we're going to put it into context and gain a little perspective. So stick with me. What I've done here is I've gone into eBay and I've just clipped out and put onto this screen some of my own statistics from my store, the important ones that I want to cover with you today. And when you go and look at your performance numbers, eBay automatically shows you the most recent 30 days. So on this screen, you're looking at my most recent 30 days from July the 8th to August the 7th. And it's comparing those numbers to the 30 days immediately preceding July the 8th. So you're looking at organic impressions down 10%. You're looking at promoted impressions down 5%. Those things combined, that's 300,000 less impressions during the month than the month before. Next, you're looking at impressions by placement. So I'm showing up in the top 20 search results 7% less than I did 30 days before. I'm showing up everywhere else. Rest of search slot impressions, 15% less than 30 days before. And then non search impressions are down 5.8% to 3,423,000. So those those numbers look bad. They really do. And it's tempting to be depressed by those numbers. Let's look at some more bad numbers. Next up in the statistics is total impressions. This is where eBay has just done the math to add those impression results that we've already looked at. But here, total impressions for the month 4,352,000, down 7.3% month over month. Now, the next one, totally different thing. This is page views. This is where somebody follows one of those impressions. You get a click, and then they're looking at your specific merchandise in your store. So 9,607 times I got page views. but that number was down 8.7% month over month. The next one is quantity sold. I sold 57 ads during the past 30 days, and that's 34.5% lower than the total number of sales that I had in the preceding 30 days. That's a big number. That's kind of depressing as well if I wasn't looking at the bigger picture. That's what we're going to do next. We're going to look at this in the context of summer sales so far. So let's move on to that. Now, what I've done is we're going to look at the same two sets of data, but we're going to cover not just the most recent 30 days, which is still at the top of the screen, but to the bottom of the page, I've added the most recent 90-day comparison to the results of the 90 days immediately preceding that. So at the top, you've got 30-day comparisons. At the bottom, you've got 90-day comparisons. And the 90 days compare May 10th to August the 7th in light of February 10th to May the 9th. Now, looking at those results, it's more encouraging. For organic impressions, they're up nearly 17%. Promoted impressions are down almost 2%, but top 20 search slot impressions are up actually over 30%, and the rest of search slot impressions are up 22%. Non-search impressions are about the same. They're flat. But in the 90-day analysis of the store, compared to the 90 days before that, I'm seeing a good trajectory. Yeah, there's a bad trend, a trend that's, cause, I won't say cause for concern. It bears watching in the last 30 days. But when you look at the bigger picture, especially considering that the summer months are notorious for a slowdown in eBay sales where you just don't have people sitting inside on computers and shopping on eBay. In light of that notorious summer slowdown, I think overall the quarter, not a calendar quarter that we're looking at, but the 90-day quarter that these numbers reflect, looks pretty good overall. Now let's look at the next data set. Now we're going to look at the second set of numbers, and these numbers, we still have the 30-day totals at the top. We've added to the bottom of the screen the 90-day period of time. And for total impressions, 12,915,000 is the total of impressions during the 90 days from May to August. That's up actually right at 5%. Also up is the total of page views, up to 28,000, almost 29,000, and that's up almost 3%. So again, over the 90-day course from May, June, July, we're looking at a good trajectory in comparison to the 90 days preceding that. Now, little bit different story here on the quantity sold, down 9.2% when you're looking at 198 sales for this 90-day period. I'm roughly 20 sales off, and that's fine. And that's to be expected in light of what everybody talks about as the summer eBay slowdown. Now, when you're talking about products like collectibles, it's more cyclical in nature. People just aren't looking for that kind of thing on eBay as much as they're looking for those things that are reliably necessary that people might shop for on eBay. So demand for collectibles is going to be down during the summer. I'm convinced of that. I've heard dozens of other people say it. It's more or less a foregone conclusion that you might not expect the same types of numbers or the same uh, level of numbers during the summer months. I'm okay with that. I'm glad that I'm doing these videos and watching numbers. I'm not fixated on them. And again, the numbers in recent months, in the past 30 days, the numbers bear watching, but it's not anything that I'm going to be depressed about. So I'll be, as we move into the fall and especially approaching the fourth quarter when we should expect to see numbers go up, I'll be watching to make sure that they do. And if they don't, I'll be trying to figure out why. But if your sales are similar to this, if your impressions, your page views, if you're paying attention to that kind of thing and you see that they're down a little bit, I would suggest that maybe for a little perspective, you go back and look at some of these prior periods of time as well and see what you think then. But if you notice trends that are different, if you see a significant amount of variation in your trajectory, leave us a comment. Tell us what's going on with your store. I'd sure like to hear about that. All right, with that covered, we're going to move on now and look at our weekly recap screen. Now, I may have said this before, but it occurs to me that during weeks like this, when the sales numbers are not high, that means I've had more time to list. And that's going to put me in a great position come the fourth quarter and the winter months when we can expect sales to be high. I'm going to have more ads listed, hopefully more sales. So I'm an optimist in that way. Looking at the week, I had 12 ads sold for $156.24. I did not have any ads sold where a customer surname matched the advertising company or the name of a person mentioned in the ad, but I did have one buyer city that matched an advertiser city, and that was for the brush punnet wall safe ad that's going back to Rochester, New York. I had one global shipping program sale. That's where the AC spark plug division of General Motors was making the RAF bomb sights for the B-24 Liberator. That ad is going to England. I'm thrilled that somebody over there is going to get their hands on it because that's just, it's going back home. And then finally, I had one repeat customer for the Burry's Bakery Porky Pig cookies. Really fun ad there. I really enjoyed telling you about my sales this week, and I also enjoyed covering that bonus topic. I hope you found some useful information there, something that will help you in your eBay store. And I hope you'll join me again next week for more great sales and a bonus topic. Until next time. If you like this video and you want to see more content like this, there's several ways that you can support the channel. First of all, if you have questions, comments, or suggestions, then leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Also, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so that you know when I'm able to post new content. Also, share this video with others. Most important, check back again next week when you'll find me here and we'll do it all again. Thanks for watching.